Hector Bellerin! Bellerin! Hector Bellerin!
Owned by Mustafi. Bellerin! Brilliant! 2-2!
Hector Bellerin, Bellerin, Hector Bellerin. Na, 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 na. That's a song. Yeah.
This Tuesday, we've now had 48 hours to let all the grime from that disappointing 0-0 draw at Leeds wash off of us. Welcome. I'm Raphael. You're the moderator of Saved by the Bellerin, the Arsenal video podcast here on the Sports Talk Line Network. I am joined, as usual, by my UK cohort. Right below me on your video screen is Ryan. Welcome back, Ryan.
Hello, mate. I hope you're doing well.
I am doing very, very well. And to Ryan's left on your screen, Sam. Welcome back, Sam.
Hello, mate. Hope everything's good.
Everything is very, very good today. Let's talk. Let's try. As I said, let's try to wash that. We'll go back to the Leeds match, but let's look a little forward. Club actually took an early trip east today. They resume Europa League play on Thursday. They play Molde away this time. Looking at the lineup, looking at the players that they've taken with us, not a real surprise, but pretty much, Ryan, it looks like the U23 group is going. Some names we expect, Emil Smith-Rowe, kind of heading that list, but then Miguel Aziz, surprising name, somebody we might watch for those of us who just follow him through headlines or off the website, a chance to see some kids who are getting a lot of praise this year.
Yeah, and I think it might have been Sam that said Aziz was the next one up for us, and looks like he's got his chance. Cottrell's got his chance. So I impressed when he came on in pre-season. I think it was against MK Dons. He did really well. Obviously, Balogun, if we want him to stay, which reports from Ornstein said that he's open contract talks with us again, he needs to be involved. And it says to me that Eddie is probably starting up front and Arteta has left Aubameyang and Lacazette at home, which is not a bad thing. Our best players can have a rest.
Okay. One player, though, who from the starting lineup, who figures to be inserted and figure prominently in the lineup, Sam, Nicola Pepe. Let's get to the point. Red carded at Leeds when the match was 0-0. Early could put his club in a real hole. Pretty much killed a chance. They needed a miracle goal to try to snatch the 3 points. They didn't get it. We're at the end of the match. We were all fuming. The manager was fuming, and we were all scratching our heads saying, "What next?" Well, he's come out. He's given an official apology. He put it out on the team's website. The team issued a statement. I'm sure he addressed his teammates in the locker room. Is the club moving forward? And how important is it for him to step back into form? He has been performing well in Europa League matches.
Yeah, I think the club is moving forward, and I think it's imperative for him to start tomorrow as well. There's going to be obviously a lot of focus, a lot of pressure on him, so he needs to turn in a good performance to make up for the sending off at Leeds. Quite rightly, he sent out an apology after the game, saying that he's let everybody associated to the club down, which was correct, because there's no defending that, in my opinion. But ultimately, best way of getting over that is scoring a couple of goals tomorrow, getting the 3 points, and everyone moving on. Obviously, talking about Nicola Pepe, he's an extremely talented player. We all know this. He's shown flashes of brilliance. We need it on a more consistent basis. It may be a case of that he hasn't adapted as quickly as what we would have liked, but ultimately, there's a real player in there. And I think once we get a creative playmaker in the middle of the park, I think that would really assist Nico Pepe as well, because the midfield and attacking line is so disjointed, and I don't think we're seeing the best out of him at the moment. But once we get that, I think we'll see a much better Nico Pepe. I've just got a really stern looking ref looking at me right now.
Has he frozen?
I believe he might have.
Oh, yeah, he's gone
All
now.
right, it's my connection. I thought it was the moderator. Okay, well, carry on, gentlemen. Welcome back. Welcome back for me. I thought everything's frozen. It's always funny when it's you who's the one that's frozen. But again, you guys carried on in good form. Technology. What can we say? Let's talk about the lineup. We talked about Pepe. We've talked about the midfield. Ryan, we've had a little chance to look this over. And we touched on this very briefly at the end of the match, and it looked like one of the things we said, the midfield did not cover itself with glory, really struggled. I mean, let's just call it what it was. But we know El Neni was out because he contracted COVID over the break. Thomas Partey had the thigh injury, the thigh issue. When play resumes, when Arsenal goes onto the pitch to face Wolves, do you expect those two to factor? Should they be back? Hopefully both will be back. And we talked about Joe Willock deserving a second chance, but really deserving a second chance with that pairing behind him.
Yeah, I hope Partey's back, because you can see already what an impact he's had on the side. And it was very, very dire on Sunday. I couldn't believe what I was watching from an Arsenal midfield, because there was overrun, overpowered by a Leeds side that, as they are well drilled, but the players we had in midfield are high quality international players. Granit Xhaka is the captain of his country, and Ceballos is touted as the next big central midfielder for Spain. So, but we just got absolutely dismantled in that part of the pitch. And I think where we've seen Partey recently, and we're like, what? Oh, he's so good. And then we see that, it's like, wow, the gap between that midfield pairing against Man United away and then that midfield pairing against Leeds United away is night and day. And I'm a bit worried if we play Wolves on Sunday without Thomas Partey or El Nene, with the dynamic running and the intense press and the engine and the athleticism. I think it's going to be much of the same on Sunday if we don't have either one of those in midfield.
All right, let's take the optimistic look at this. Sam, I don't know, you have your telestrator available to you, but whether you do or whether you're not, let's say that those three line up. 4-3-3 comes back. You think Mikel is committed to that? And we can ask Ryan that about it as well. But it looks, he made the change. He had the break. He came back from the break. 3-4-3 was gone. 4-3-3 was in. I'm guessing that's what he wants to do, is grow the team into that formation. If they stay with that, how do they line up in that midfield? Where do you put them?
I would have to say 4-3-3 needs to stay. I think maybe against big teams, the 3-4-3 comes back, but ultimately we need to start sticking with one formation and make it work. Albeit if it's getting players in the January window, but right now we need our players to start working in one formation that gives them a bit more license, something that everybody's been screaming for. In regards to how we set up, I think it should be Partey as the deepest lying midfielder to back up the other two. Ceballos one side and Xhaka possibly the other. If you take Xhaka out of this, I'd say El Neni as the base midfielder, so he can collect the ball off the defenders and recycle it quickly and pass the ball off to the more creative midfielders in Ceballos, and Partey moves up the pitch. I would probably go El Neni, Partey and Ceballos being the main ones to start. because I think if Partey is a bit further up the pitch, it gives us a chance to snatch the ball high and then counter on teams very quickly from then on. But if he's a bit lower, it gives us a bit more to do. But with El Neni behind him, obviously we've seen against Manchester United how El Neni likes to basically track Partey's movements so they're not too far apart, and also that just squeezes our centre backs up as well, which is always beneficial.
Let's talk about something again. It was missing. We were scratching our heads saying Leeds is a club that invites presses. That seemed if you had everybody available, you would want to press them. Arsenal really didn't do that, Ryan, and that was probably because those two were missing. As we think back to Man United, I remember El Neni being advanced, working with the front three. We know Partey covers a ridiculous amount of ground. Does it come to that? Is simply that if he has his best three, his veteran three, that he can then be more aggressive and push all of his front, his forward line and his midfield forward?
Yeah, against United, you saw, as Sam made in the telestrator we put out, that we pressed with 4 forward players and El Neni. With Xhaka and Ceballos, because they know, as I said on Sunday, they know they're not that great with the mobility and their athleticism. They're probably more cautious about moving forward because they don't want to get caught going back. And with Partey and El Neni, they both know they have the engine to cover that ground quickly and efficiently, whereas they don't make the calculated risks. They get back in position and then win the ball back that way. Whereas Xhaka and Ceballos, I feel like when they're trying to track someone, they either bring them down or they expose themselves even more. They dive in and just get run around. So, yeah, as long as we have, if we can get a Willock, Partey and El Neni in midfield, full of energy, full of a massive engine in all 3 players, speed, dynamic running, athleticism, we can push our wing backs high. We can push our wingers high, and we can press that way. So basically, we're pressing in a 2-4-3, I think it is, with the 2 centre backs, the 3 midfielders, wingers, wing backs, and we can press higher up the pitch because we know going back, Partey, El Neni can cover that ground on either side of the centre backs. We're not that as exposed as if Ceballos is covering for Bellerin or Xhaka is covering for Tierney.
All right, let's move it up front, Sam. Pepe's out, obviously, red card. He's going to miss 3 matches. One of the things I think Mikel's committed himself to now, we saw it, Aubameyang central. So Aubameyang's playing central against Wolves. Who plays on his sides? I mean, it seems that now that Saka's back on a regular routine, he's not playing double matches. I would presume he's going to be the left-sided player. On the right, are we still going to see Willian, or is Nelson going to get
And by Mustafi.
Hector Bellerin, Hector Bellerin.
But I would probably go Reece Nelson on the left-hand side, and I would go with Eddie Nketiah to go down the right-hand side. Reasoning for that is Reece worked extremely well on the left-hand side of Hoffenheim's mid attacking 3 when he was there, cutting in and unleashing shots from outside the box and cross the keeper. With Eddie, I think that he has got the stamina to get up and down the wing. If we can put him into a dangerous position wider, I think that he might have a bit more joy. For me, Aubameyang needs to stay in the middle just so he can get back in the rhythm of being there. Obviously, with Saka, if he is okay, I would potentially look at him coming off the bench. because I think that if we are going to rush him after that knock on his knee, I think that could be a bit detrimental to him.
Ryan, what's your shuffle up front? Again, Mikel's got some limitations now that he did not have going into the Leeds match.
Yeah, is this for tomorrow night or for
No,
Sunday?
this is for the weekend. This is against Wolves.
Oh, the weekend. Blimey. Trying to think of the players we actually have on the wing.
Well, we don't have Pepe, right? We know they've
Don't
got
have
Nelson,
Pepe.
right?
We might
They got
not.
Willian, but do you really want to use Willian?
Well, he's injured, is he not? He come off.
Oh, that's
injured
true.
the
He
other
had a
day?
knock as well. So you've got Nelson, you've got Nketiah, and you've got Aubameyang. Pretty much, your hand is kind of
Yeah.
played, and then who knows how many minutes, as Sam was saying, who knows how many minutes Saka has?
As much as we hate it, we might actually have to see Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang on the left and have Nelson on the right, just because of injuries, and have maybe Eddie through the middle.
Nketiah?
Yeah, I'm not going to say Lacazette because I might upset Sam.
You might upset me too. Might upset some of our listeners or viewers. So, but who knows? So if you folks out there like Lacazette, step up for him. Again, this is kind of, we're back where we started, and that gets me to a point. I'm gonna kind of put this for both of you, but in the summer when we looked, it looked for all the world that Arsenal could have a big roster turnover. We put up a chart. I'm not going to put it up here right now, but I put the top 10 salaries on the club up, and it had Mesut Ozil on top, and I think he's now kind of 1B with Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. But we assumed that half of those players, people like Kolasinac, people like Mustafi, people like Mkhitaryan, would go out, and Mkhitaryan did go out. Lucas Torreira went out, although he wasn't quite in the top 10. He was right below that. But what's surprising, as we look at it, and today is November 24th, only one of those top 10 salaries from last season has moved on, and that was Henrik Mkhitaryan, who's now at Roma. Sam, that's glaring evidence that as much as we want to talk about a new Arsenal, and Mikel Arteta is a month shy of 1 year at the helm, he's still very much playing with Unai Emery's squad.
Yeah, and we're still playing with mismanaged contracts as well. Obviously, Mustafi's out of contract in the summer. Kolasinac is, I reckon he'll be off to Germany in January. Ozil, obviously, that's well documented. He's out of contract in the summer, and I think that will give us a lot of freedom. But ultimately, we need to be shifting some of these players. If we need to get a creative midfielder in, we still need to shift somebody out of the squad. So the sooner we can shift people like Mustafi or Kolasinac, the better. I think that potentially, for some unbeknown reason, Barcelona might go for Mustafi in January. Even if we can get a million, 2 million. Yeah.
Take him.
Yeah, exactly. Even a million, 2 million. It's better than nothing. And to be honest, it gets his wages off the books, allows us to bring in a player that's crucially needed. We can't allow players to potentially go for nothing in the summer. I think that we need to say to clubs, if they're looking to come in and buy them, if they're looking at them for the summer, just say, look, you can have them now for a really reduced fee. So it will definitely be interesting to see what happens in this January window. But also, we've got to make sure that we don't leave ourselves short.
Ryan, the window's just a little over a month away. 5 weeks, I believe. 5 weeks from Monday. We're all excited. We all know the need to get players out. There's still deadwood on the roster, but takes two to tango. If you're going to send somebody out, you got to find a team that's willing to sell you somebody. And we're in that schizophrenic season where we're throwing the familiar names out: Szoboszlai in the midfield, War in the midfield. But now the Szoboszlai situation, it looked like he was going to Leipzig. He's going from Salzburg to Leipzig, both Red Bull clubs. And then it seemed, at least the narrative turned, he's looking to go elsewhere. Arsenal was back in the picture. Now the waters are really muddied. I saw a story today that Tottenham has thrown their hat in the ring, and you were quoting Bill as saying that the move back to Leipzig is on. This is a player Arsenal really likes, but what's the temperature of that potential move in your opinion as of today?
It's a tough one because the corruption between both Red Bull clubs is unbelievable. They sell players to each other all the time, so we can see it. I definitely can see it happening. But then you've got to think back to last January, and Salzburg was supposed to sell Erling Haaland to Leipzig, and they didn't. They sold him to Dortmund. So if we can get our foot through the door and kick Leipzig out the way, I think he'll come to us. Because looking at the clubs that are interested in him, you've got Tottenham, Bayern Munich, and Real Madrid. No one wants to play for Tottenham. You're not going to get into Real Madrid's starting 11 because their midfield is stacked. You're probably not going to get into Bayern Munich's midfield right now because it's stacked. The best option for him to play every game is sign for us, because where we lack that creative spark, he is going to be the main guy for us to get our attack moving. And what better way to be recruited by saying to someone, you're going to be the number 10 of Arsenal Football Club, the Arsenal, you're going to be the number 10. You're going to supply Nicolas Pepe, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, the two brightest stars in Europe in Gabriel Martinelli and Bukayo Saka. That is the best pitch you could probably give someone. And what do Leipzig have? Do you know what I mean?
Yep. And
other than Champions League.
Sam, though, he's coming from the Austrian league. He would be coming from the Austrian league. Let's be optimistic about this. That's a steep jump. In your opinion, if you've seen him, is he up for
it? Yes, I think that his talent will get him through that adaptation period. He's robust enough to handle the rigors of the Premier League, I believe. He's got some good trickery about him, some good pace about him. He's somebody that will just be able to drift away from players. If it starts getting physical, he can mix it up. Obviously playing in the Champions League as well. I don't Champions League, I think now. Will give him experience against playing against top teams. So he's more than ready to make the jump. And I think that if we're smart about his adaptation as well, it'll be a seamless transition.
All right. And another name that's resurfaced. I mean, this one's going to shock nobody. He was, we kept hitting refresh on deadline day after Thomas Partey was announced. It's like, are they going to sweep back and make a last minute run and try to get Aouar in addition to Partey? It's kind of gone quiet, but Lyon has not had the strongest of starts, Ryan. It looks like the time would be ripe for Arsenal to go back for him. I don't think his price is going to go up. He himself struggled a little bit at the beginning of the season, but he still looks like a player who's an ideal fit, especially on the left side of that midfield, where he just bossed matches last year for Lyon on their Champions League run.
Yeah, he didn't have a great start to the season. So Lyon didn't have a great start to the season. So you can see how that fits hand in hand. If your best player doesn't have a good start, 9 times out of 10, the team's not going to have a good start. And I don't know if Lyon will sell, because, believe it or not, they need him more than we do right now. So they might just say, well, give us your best 6 months and then we'll sell you in the summer to whoever is the highest bidder. Because if with Lyon, his price isn't going to go up now. But after January, he could have the best 4 months of the season of his life and still be sold for more than what he was going to go for last summer. Because there's going to be more teams for him in the summer this year. You can have PSG, Arsenal, Juventus, and the likes of, and so on. So, yeah.
So, okay. But that leaves a very disheartening possibility. Let's come back to you, Sam. we're all excited about getting one or both of them, but what happens if neither is there? What is your plan B? Obviously, this team, we know, we've seen in these last few matches, the engine is not there. The transmission, if you will, to drive the car is just not there. There's some power, but it's not getting to the strikers. The ball's not getting to the strikers. The service is not getting to the strikers. The goals are not coming. Arsenal needs to do something. And these guys are not going to go as priorities, but if they become, it's clear by the end, a month from now, that they're going to have to be summer priorities. What's your plan B?
Obviously, the name of Christian Eriksen has been thrown up in the media. Two names that I want to mention is Christopher Nkunku from Leipzig and Marcel Sabitzer, also from Leipzig. I think if Dominic does decide to end up at Leipzig, I firmly believe one of them are going to be available. I'd be very happy with either of them. They've both got slightly different characteristics, but both characteristics would be of great benefit to us because obviously they bring that creativity in there. In regards to Christian Eriksen, we all know that he's out of favour at Inter Milan. 28 years old. He can give us four good years. If he can get up to his Premier League standard that he was at Tottenham before all the contract situation started. I think that he, even if it's just a loan for 6 months, if he can get in with that desire and hunger that we've all seen him play with, it will give us a lift and would give us that added creativity. Obviously, a lot of people may go for Ozil, but the fact of the matter is the guy's out of contract in 6 months, and if we're going to be building for the future, he doesn't fit.
All right, Ryan, Sam is talking about players in the Bundesliga. You've had your plan B, certain gentleman who's in Spain at the moment. I'm going to let you expand on him or bring him back into the conversation. He's been in our discussions on this podcast before.
Yeah, Mr. Isco Alcaron. Real Madrid are willing to let him go. He's willing to leave. I'm sure we could strike up a deal somewhere. Maybe try to get him on a loan with a buy option in the summer. See how it goes for him. Because I know he's had a bit of an injury problems. He's been out of favour. He's had a bit of lack of form. So he's going a bit cheap. So if we can get him for a loan with a 20 million option to buy or something of the like, I would do it within an instant. I wouldn't even look at the other guys. I'd wait till the summer for one of those kind of players.
Assuming you brought him in, that doesn't change Dani Ceballos' situation in the short term. But if you really like Isco, if he clicks as you hope he does, what does that do for Dani Ceballos' future at this club? Or is that dependent on anybody else that they bring in for the midfield?
What was I say? You kind of broke up.
Oh, I was just saying, say Isco comes in and say Isco meets your expectations and he is as good as you hope he is. What does that do for Dani Ceballos' longer-term future with this club, in your opinion?
I mean, I don't think they affect each other, really, because Isco will probably play in a number 10 and Ceballos will play a little bit deeper than him. So they could probably play together with Thomas Partey at the base. I think that would be quite a nice midfield because Ceballos is improving every day defensively, and you got Partey, and then you got the creativity of Isco. So that might work.
All right, gentlemen, we're entering injury time here on the pod. We're going to get to our predictions in just a moment, but first I'm going to take our promotional moment. As you know, last week we announced we rolled out a Patreon account. I don't know if our engineer Lee might put that up on the screen for us, but we have 2 tiers on this. We're asking you to sponsors, but you have a very robust
Owned by Mustafi.
We're doing previews now.
Hector
every week.
Bellerin,
We'll tell the story,
Bellerin,
video breakdown,
Hector
before
Bellerin.
each match,
Da, da, da,
what
da,
it
da, da, da.
takes, 20
That's a
minutes or so, different situations, what happens when the opponent has the ball and they're attacking, what happens when Arsenal has the ball and they're attacking them. Those are regular features. We're giving all our captains tier followers access to an exclusive chat group that lets you talk with us, lets you kind of go behind the scenes and be part of the pod. And we're also pulling one of our followers out at least once a week. And you notice there's a little spot right below me here on our pod, and we're going to start putting guests in that chair, and that guest could be you. You could sign up. And then, of course, we've had a lot of questions about this. We've had photographs of you been on our Say About the Bellerin page, but I'm going to show it to you here. We have as a perk for all people who subscribe, 1 month from now, roughly 1 month from now, after the Southampton game, we will draw a winner to get this signed Kieran Tierney top. Let me open it for you here. This is from the club. This is the ones they sell on the spot, on the squad. Let's see if you can see it. There's the certificate of authenticity on the left of the box. And of course, here is, pull it up to me so you can see it. Here is the shirt. You can see the man's signature right across the top of the number 3. This is a wonderful, wonderful gift, and we're very happy to give it away to one of our Captain's Tier followers. And signing up for the Captain's Tier automatically enters you into the drawing to get this shirt. It'd be a wonderful gift for yourself this Christmas season, or for somebody else, the Arsenal fan in your life. So, all right, let's come back. Gentlemen, big match coming up. Some unsatisfying results. Last couple times Arsenal's gone out. Goals are not coming. Wolves is not going to be easy, obviously. Can they break 3 points, or are they at a point now with the uncertainty in the midfield, Sam, where they're scraping for the 1 point? What's your sense? Let's put option A, option B. Option A, they're healthy. They get El Neni, they get Partey back in the midfield. Option B, they only have one or neither of them, and we're seeing the same lineup that we saw at Leeds. What do you see from each of those?
If we're healthy, I think it's 3 points. I want to say it'll be a comfortable 3 points, but obviously the state that we're in, but also
nothing's comfortable right now.
No. Yeah. But with the return of Thomas Partey, that's a big, big, big plus. That'll be absolutely massive for us. So I'd like to say that he can control that Wolves midfield, because obviously the central of their midfield don't tend to push forward, because they either have Saïs or Ruben Neves with João Moutinho in the middle of the midfield, and they don't tend to come forward too often. So if we've got El Neni and Partey, we can really push them on and get high. But if we don't have them, I'd say it'll probably be a 1-1 draw or a scrappy 1-0.
Ryan, how do you see this? Again, healthy, not healthy.
I'm just going to be called the pessimistic one of this group. I can see it coming, but if we're healthy, I can see a 1-1 draw, and if we're unhealthy, I can see a loss, unfortunately.
Okay, well, I'm going to split the middle. I think this club is stuck in a rut, and until they can really improve, I hate to say it, but they're struggling right now. They're going to have to show me. I'm going to say 1-1, regardless. I think we're still stuck in. We said earlier they've not turned over the roster. I think Mikel is squeezed as much as he can out of this grape. I think right now, these words just chill me saying them, but they're in the Emery zone, and that's the draw zone. It's pessimistic, but I hope I'm wrong. I'll be happy to come on and say I'm wrong, but that's how I see it. All right. Any final words, gentlemen, coming out of this week? Is there anything you're looking forward to, Sam, in either of the matches, in Europa or from this match? Is there somebody you're hoping steps forward? Especially there's somebody Thursday who you're looking for, who you're going to track very carefully when they're at Molde.
I think for Thursday, obviously we want to get a win and just get the qualification over and done with. players that I'm going to be tracking in that game is Florian Balogun and also Emil Smith-Rowe, and hopefully we can see one or both on the score sheet.
All right, Ryan, who are your must-watch players? Should-watch players?
I'm going to go with Sam here. I'm going to say Emil Smith-Rowe. Hopefully he can get a few minutes, and I'm going to say Nico Pepe because he has a lot to prove this game.
Yeah, and well, I wish we could say that in both matches, but certainly Nico Pepe on Thursday. All right, we want to thank you for joining us this Tuesday. Join us this weekend for the Wolves match. We'll be doing a kind of a watch along, a chat. We'll have some comments, and then obviously for our Captain subscribers, we will be recording the Telestrators, the post match breakdown as we did for Leeds, and we'll have that available to you rather quickly. We'll be sending out the links to you this week with the chat room address and also your numbers for the Tierney drawing. So again, we all thank you, and the rest of you out there, we invite you to join us on that journey. And that brings us to the end of this Tuesday pod here on Sports Talk Line. For Sam, for Ryan, I'm Raphael. I'm going to say good night.